Okay, so for this part, we're going to talk about the coloring. And so I just want to show you how I can still see some of my mistakes. It's not the end of the world. I can go back and do a little erasing just to kind of clean up your paper. But it doesn't have to be, but it's always a good practice to just start off clean. Okay. And so I did go back with a permanent marker. You do not have to. A color pencil would work just fine. And darkened the lines I want to keep. Sorry. I also went through with my marker and I added just little, right on top of the line I already drew, I was able to add the spikes to the cactus just by going right on top of the line. So just because you drew it does not finalize it. You can always overlap it and add detail. So remember, our goal was to have texture. Okay, and texture is made by repeating a shape or a line. So when I'm repeating the spiky line, right, it's adding texture of something that looks like it feels. The rocks, by adding a shape and repeating it, it's got texture now. It's not smooth like the paper. Now it has a different texture. And the other word we've been talking about is visual rhythm. So our painting has a lot of different lines and textures happening, and we have a lot of visual texture, or I'm sorry, visual rhythm happening. So when we color it, it's going to become even more visual and have movement and carry us through. All right, so all we need for this project today are crayons, just a regular pack of crayons. And you know that when we're talking about color, you hear often the word value, and they're not talking about money. They're talking about light and dark. So the word value means light or dark. So we can darken things by using a darker color. Okay, so this dark green is darker than the yellow green. So the yellow green might be the highlight, and the regular green can become the shade. Okay. The problem is that what if I want that green to be darker? So I only have 2 greens in this whole box. Okay, so then my other choice would be to darken it by maybe making it bluer. So I could add a little blue to it. I could also make the green darker by adding a little black. Okay, and I'll show you that here. So if I take my crayon and I lightly, the key to using crayon and blending crayon is to not start off waxy. Okay, so we're not looking for dark and shiny. We're looking for blending happens when you go soft and gentle. So I've put a little layer of dark. So when I go back with that green, same thing, I'm pressing and I'm layering. The green is going to appear. You got it. It's little, soft and steady to get in those little cracks. It's those little white marks that will distract our eye. So we want to make sure we fill it all in. And as I come away from that grayer green, you start to see the green, the pure green show. So I've created a shadow there. Okay, and I can just fill it in. I can lighten, right? I can make a little highlight by adding a little yellow green in there and blending it in. But the same thing goes, if I press too hard, too fast, then I won't be able to layer it. They just can't cover each other. So the key is being really slow and deliberate. And when you look at the examples, you'll see that they are not all the same. And you'll see that they kind of decide. So if this is my dark spot on the right side of my plant, then the right side of my plants can be the shadow. So this time I'll try a little blue. So if I want to make the green different, I have to change it. And this is where practice on another piece of paper comes in. You can get another piece of paper and try things out. So if I put a little blue, what happens when I put the green over it? And again, it's all about light. If you can't see a change, it's most often that you don't have enough layering there. So I have to make sure I'm spending the time building up. We want that crayon to get into the cracks of the paper, and that takes a little bit of time. This is not about fast or being sloppy, so you really have to take your time. We can try out other colors like the brown. I'm sorry, the purple, and see what happens. So take your time, look at all the examples, and slowly build up. And the same will go with your rocks and your pebbles. They don't all need to be brown. You can fill them in, and I'm not filling them in 100% because then I can lighten some of them up. I can make some darker. I could use white and black together to make gray. You might find a gray in your container, in your choices here. So take your time. I'm going to make some dark brown. So the way to make dark brown would be to add black. So that word we're talking about is value. And when your painting has more interesting values and it's not just one green, then it's going to look more realistic. It's going to look a lot more interesting. So we are trying to have a variety of greens and a variety of color happening in our picture and not just all one value. So you start to get depth and you start to get much more interesting areas. So test it out. Get a tester paper, see what works. See what ways to make things darker. Try the colors together and see. Okay, so when you're done with your cactuses, you can add color. You can decide if you're going to leave your base black and white, if you're going to add color to it. You're going to use a different color on your table, okay, and another color for your background. So I wouldn't want to make a green background if my plants are mostly green. I would not want to do a green background. We want it to be a color that's different from this so that it stands out. If I'm going to make these little flowers that are on the cactus, these are the little fruit of the cactus, these little ovals. If I wanted to make those red, then I would not put a red background. We don't want to lose, right? We don't want to lose it by being too much alike. We want it to be contrasting. So pick a different background color. And you can keep it super simple. I'm going to just do purple real quick to show you. Super soft light. It does not have to be, you could do an ombre with the crayon, but whatever you choose, it's just soft, gentle. It's fast because I'm going light and even. If you go really dark, you're going to get a really hard line, and then you're going to have to correct it by making it all dark. So your best bet is to start off slow and light and gentle. Okay, so have fun experimenting on your practice sheet. Take your time, do good coloring. I'm going in a circular motion. I like to go in a circular motion. Some people like to go up and down, side to side. I find that the circular motion helps me keep it lighter because I tend to be heavy-handed. So you're going to find what works for you. You're going to take your time and do your best coloring, and you have a week to do it. So if you can get these photographed and upload it or email it to me at my website, or I'm sorry, not at my website, at my my email, that would be great. Okay, good luck.